Hey guys, Running Reaper here. So last night I finally went to see Elvis, the new film from Baz Luhrmann. I've been anticipating this for quite a bit. The trailers looked fantastic, and you know, if there's if there ever was a match made in heaven, it would be Baz Luhrmann and the story of Elvis Presley. You've surely got a guaranteed success here, but is it a success? Let's find out. So Elvis, of course, tells the story of Elvis Presley, his life, his career, his influences, the political atmosphere of the time, and most importantly, the complex and very strained relationship between him and his manager, Colonel Tom Parker. I think, going in, this is very much a Baz Luhrmann film, so lots of like stylistic excess and lots of like fast and just weird storytelling techniques. And I must admit, for the opening minutes of this film anyway, it felt a little hazy and it was moving so fast, and I was sitting there thinking to myself, what's going on here? Slow down, Baz. But it settles down from there, and I have to say, once it does, I actually really, really enjoyed that. Uh, there's a lot that this film does, and it does it so well. Like, this film tells a lot of story. Like, the narrative of this film spans a long number of years. It's got a long run time. It's 2 hours and 40 minutes. So they absolutely use that to the advantage to take the time they need to tell this big complex story, and it is like really, really compelling stuff, especially when it's focusing on the very complex relationship between Elvis and Colonel Tom Parker. That I absolutely love this because as the film progresses, Elvis like tries harder and harder to break free of the Colonel's increasingly strong grip and very like you know continually exploiting him for all he's worth to to pay off his debts relating to his gambling addiction. And all of this is sold wonderfully by Austin Butler and Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks, I would expect, is good. His accent maybe isn't the best, but you do get used to it, and it does work considering the truth that comes out about the character later on in the film. But Austin Butler, goddamn, like, this is a star-making performance. He is really, really good here. Like, he has all the mannerisms, he has the swagger, the charisma, the moves, and as weirdly as he gets older, like Cameron gets older, he does kind of begin to resemble Elvis a bit more in that weird biopic way, but he is really, really good here. Not just on stage, but like on stage he is fantastic. He is a real presence, but even off stage as well, he really brilliantly sells and conveys the conflicted, struggling man behind the legend. Yeah, he's going to go places, and I am really, really excited to see him as Fade in Dune Part 2 next year, especially under the direction of a master of his craft, Denis Villeneuve. There we go. You got your Dune name drop. But yeah, there's another relationship at the heart of this film that this just conveys so brilliantly, and that is the addictive and intoxicating and at a point destructive rapport between Elvis and the adoring audience. When this film is on stage, Baz Luhrmann is in his element. Like, these scenes are just electric, lots of fun visual techniques and a real sense of atmosphere. And yes, these scenes are really helped by the fact that Austin, has all the moves down, and the fact he does his own singing. It really adds to the believability and authenticity of it all. It's very exciting to watch. I loved how they also explored like the politics of the time as well. More specifically, like the black and white segregation in America and the persecution of Elvis for performing black songs and doing all these moves that women locked up and calling them vulgar and animalistic. Just saying, cancel culture isn't a recent phenomenon. All this just really helps to build this more complex and fascinating narrative, and it does make it a lot more interesting and compelling to watch. And this is also helped by the framing device Baz Luhrmann uses to tell the story in the film, because the film is actually told from Colonel Parker's perspective, which I think is a very interesting way to go about an Elvis Presley biopic. And it's really entertaining, giving the film this kind of unreliable narrator of sorts, because let's be real, Colonel Tom Parker is, quite a bit of a jackass, and it's really fun seeing how he warps events to his perspective, trying to frame himself as the hero and savior of Elvis's story. There's a line near the end of the film where he's like, it wasn't the pills, it wasn't me that killed him, it was his love, of being on the stage. And obviously, given that you know how the story plays out, and if you've seen the film, you'll know that there's a bit of omitting the truth there. But that's just part of, that just works well with who Colonel is as a character, a bit of a slithery real snake. All in all, Elvis is just a real wild ride of the time. Obviously, it is not a happy ending, but the journey this film takes us on to get us there is just so compelling. And for such a long run time, I never really felt bored. Although again, it did feel a bit hard to get invested at the start because of how fast it all moves. But that's just the wild excess of Baz Luhrmann. You weren't expecting him to go under the top, were you? But yeah, those are my thoughts on Elvis. I really enjoyed it, and I am gonna give the film an 8 out of 10. This is in my top 10 of the year so far, and I highly recommend you go to the cinema to see it. Even if you don't know much about Elvis, you'll get a very insightful and informative experience, as well as just being totally gripped by everything you're witnessing. It's a very unconventional but very good biopic. And yeah, let me know down in the comments, have you seen Elvis? What did you think of it? Did you struggle to get invested at the opening of the film? And what's your favourite Baz Luhrmann film? And what other iconic artists would you like to see get a biopic treatment even half as creative as this? Let me know. All that down in the comments. Don't forget the thumbs up button if you enjoyed. Don't forget the subscribe button if you're new, and don't forget to turn on post notifications so you don't miss an upload.